Welcome to another Walter Football video. I'm Charlie Campbell, Senior Draft Analyst, the most accurate mock drafter in the world. You can check the links below to verify that. Also, you can check along in the comment box. I'll have the outline of the mock there if you want to follow along that way, or click the link to the mock so you can follow along on the site as well and see stats and size info and all that kind of thing. But anyways, let's get into this week's mock draft. All right, first overall pick, I have the Texans taking C.J. Stroud, quarterback out of Ohio State. It's going to be an interesting debate between Stroud and Bryce Young. I think Stroud could end up being viewed as the safer player with teams because of the size, but I do think that it's going to be split. There are going to be some teams that prefer Bryce Young, and some teams I think could end up preferring Stroud. So, obviously the Texans need a future franchise quarterback. Davis Mills hasn't proven to be the long-term starter. Houston has to fix that. Second overall, I have the Bears taking Will Anderson, edge rusher from Alabama. Chicago just got rid of Robert Quinn. They traded Khalil Mack last offseason. They need more young edge rush talent. Will Anderson would be a plug-and-play upgrade for them. Fabulous instincts. Not a freaky athlete, not super freak in terms of size and speed, but he just has a knack for getting to the quarterback, and the Bears need that. Third overall, I have the Lions taking Bryce Young, quarterback from Alabama. Obviously, Jared Goff is a solid NFL starter, but he's really not a championship caliber quarterback. I think the Lions might be able to get a day 2 pick for him because if he's playing better than, say, Matt Ryan played for the Falcons last year, or Carson Wentz. So maybe they could get a pick for him. But either way, they could get out of his contract without any penalty this offseason and get their future franchise quarterback. I think Bryce Young would be electric in that offense. They have a great offensive line, young talent at receiver. Reunite him with Jameson Williams. Interesting that if the Lions take one of those quarterbacks, Jameson Williams is going to be reunited with a former teammate in Stroud or Bryce Young. So just an interesting kind of odd coincidence. Okay, fourth overall, Seattle. I have them taking Jalen Carter, defensive tackle from Georgia. They could use more young interior talent for that defensive line. I think Carter would be a plug-and-play upgrade for them next to Poona Ford, give them some interior push and pass rush. Fifth overall, I have the Panthers taking Will Levis, quarterback from Kentucky. Give them a big-armed franchise quarterback that can get the ball to DJ Moore and really give them a big upgrade at the quarterback position over what they've had over the past few seasons. Sixth overall, I have the Eagles taking Myles Murphy, edge rusher from Clemson. They traded for Robert Quinn. He's aging. Brandon Graham's aging. They could use another end to pair with Josh Sweat, and I think that Myles Murphy would be a nice value for them at 6. He has a great skill set. Really can do what he wants on the football field. Sometimes you got to poke the bear a little bit to get him going, but when you get him going, he will manhandle guys. He has speed. He is athletic. A lot of untapped potential with him. Seventh overall, I have the Cardinals taking Northwestern offensive tackle Peter Skoronski. Give them more offensive line talent to protect Kyler Murray. Eighth overall, I have the Packers taking Antonio Johnson, safety from Texas A&M. Green Bay could use a safety upgrade. They also could use better run defense, and Johnson would help in both regards. He can also play nickel corner. Just a really instinctive player, good size, speed. I think he'd be a great fit there for the Packers. Ninth overall, I have the Raiders taking Christian Gonzalez, cornerback from Oregon. Give them a big number 1 corner. Gonzalez has the best skill set of any cornerback in this draft class in terms of size, speed, athleticism combination. He has the best skill set. We'll see how the workouts go. He's shown more ball skills this season, but I wouldn't be surprised if the workouts help him and he ends up rising through the process and could be the first cornerback to go off the board. Has a ton of upside. The Raiders badly need cornerback help. 10th overall, I have the Texans taking Quentin Johnston, wide receiver from TCU. Obviously, Brandon Cooks is unhappy in Houston. He wants to leave. The Texans need a #1 receiver for whoever is going to be that new quarterback, whether it's Stroud or Bryce Young. Quentin Johnston has great speed, size, athleticism combination. Could be a really good fit there for the Texans. 11th overall, I have the Jaguars taking Joey Porter Jr., cornerback from Penn State. They need a #1 corner. Tyson Campbell's a good player, is emerging as a good player, has some inconsistencies, but I think if you gave them another corner to go with them, that would really help in terms of him taking #2 receivers. And Joey Porter Jr., tremendous length, really tough football player. Not a huge playmaker in terms of interceptions and game-changing plays, but he's a solid cover corner. 12th overall, I have the Steelers taking Paris Johnson, left tackle from Ohio State. Give them more offensive line help to protect Kenny Pickett. 13th overall, I have the Lions taking Bijan Robinson, running back from Texas. I think this would be a great pick for Detroit. They have an awesome offensive line. I think if you put Robinson behind them, that could be a tremendous running game. He's the best running back prospect, as we had in the hot press recently, across the league. People feel he's better than Saquon Barkley, Ezekiel Elliott, Leonard Fournette, the other guys who've gone in the top 5 recently. He's kind of a combination of Saquon Barkley and Christian McCaffrey because of what Robinson can do as a receiver. But I think that'd be a great pick for the Lions. DeAndre Swift can't stay healthy, doesn't play through injuries. Jamal Williams is hitting free agency. I think this would be a huge addition for the Lions to add a playmaker and really capitalize on having this tremendous offensive line there in Detroit. 14th overall, I have the Colts taking Tanner McKee, quarterback from Stanford. Give them a future starter. Obviously, Matt Ryan's on the downside of his career, won't be in the league too much longer. They could keep Ryan, develop McKee behind him for a year, and then turn it over, or potentially sooner. But obviously, the Colts need a long-term starter. 15th overall, I have the Falcons taking Isaiah Foskey, defensive end from Notre Dame. They need more edge rush help badly. Foskey, I think, could be a really excellent football player in that Atlanta scheme. I think you pair him with Arnold Ebiketie, and I think before too long, in a year or two, edge rush won't be a problem anymore for the Falcons. 16th overall, I have the Seahawks taking Tyree Wilson, defensive end from Texas Tech. They need more edge rush. I think if this draft class is a pair with Tyree Wilson and Jalen Carter, that is really going to improve the Seattle defense up front in terms of stopping the run and getting after the quarterback and causing more disruption at the point of attack. 17th overall, I have the Chargers taking Devondre Sweat, defensive tackle from Texas. Big, athletic, freaky athletic specimen, and Sweat will really help that run defense that's been an issue for the Chargers over the past few years. Obviously, they cut Jerry Tillery. That didn't work out. They need more young talent at tackle. 18th overall, I have the Patriots taking Jalen Duncan, offensive tackle from Maryland. Isaiah Wynn is entering free agency. Not sure. It doesn't seem like they're all that eager on doing an extension with him. They could use more offensive line talent there to protect Mac Jones. I would probably take a receiver, but knowing the Patriots, I think they'd be more inclined to go with the offensive line. 19th overall, I have the Bucs taking Jackson Smith-Njigba, wide receiver from Ohio State. Tampa Bay just going with the best player available. Mike Evans is aging a bit. Julio Jones, just a short-term solution. They could use some more young talent at receiver. They've had a lot of injuries there, and the depth has been an issue, so I think adding some more young talent there would make sense for Tampa Bay. 20th overall, I have Washington taking Cam Smith, cornerback from South Carolina. Give them a corner that upgrade. They could use one to go with Fuller, and I think Cam Smith be a nice player for Washington. Good scheme fit for Ron Rivera and Jack Del Rio. 21st overall, I have Baltimore taking Kayshon Boutte, wide receiver from LSU. Give them a weapon to go with Bateman for Lamar Lamar Jackson, they could use more receiving talent, and I definitely think that Boutte is a good scheme fit there for what he can do as just a playmaker in terms of a guy who can get open for Lamar Jackson. 22nd overall, I have the Jets taking Cedric Tillman, wide receiver from Tennessee. Corey Davis is just kind of an above average veteran, but he's not special. Obviously, some of the other young receivers want out, like Denzel Mims and Elijah Moore, so I think you add a big receiver to go with the speed you have in Garrett Wilson. 23rd overall, I have the Bengals taking Cam Mitchell, cornerback from Northwestern. I think Cincinnati could use more cornerback help. Cam Mitchell, sleeper prospect. I know some teams that really like him. Has good size, athleticism, could also have some safety flex as well, so I think that'd be a nice fit there for Cincinnati and giving them a versatile defensive back. 24th overall, I have the Giants taking Jordan Addison, wide receiver from USC. Obviously, the Giants need receiver help. Jordan Addison would give them a playmaker. 25th overall, I have the Broncos taking Tuli Tuipulotu, defensive end from USC, get a replacement for Bradley Chubb. They could use more edge rush there in Denver. 26th overall, I have the Titans taking Michael Mayer, tight end from Notre Dame. That's one of the few holes I could see that the Titans dressing, maybe offensive line as well, but I think Mayer would give them a playmaker in the passing game, someone to go with Treylon Burks, and really another mismatch weapon there for that offense. 27th overall, I have the Cowboys taking Jahmyr Gibbs, running back from Alabama. Obviously, Tony Pollard and Ezekiel Elliott are both potentially gone. I think the Cowboys will bring back one of them, and I think it's going to be hard to bring back both and be able to afford both of them, so I wouldn't be surprised one comes back. And maybe Ezekiel Elliott might end up even being cheaper at this point over Pollard, but I think Gibbs would give them a definite receiving upgrade in the backfield, just a dynamic receiver, give them more speed and playmaking ability, so whichever back comes back, now they have a complement and a guy that can be the feature back in the years to come. 28th overall, I have the Bills taking Gervin Dexter, defensive tackle from Florida. He's big, athletic, quick, really tough against the run. I think he'd be a good fit there, and Buffalo has upside to develop into being more of a pass rusher when he gets good coaching, and he would get that if he landed with the Bills. 29th overall, I have the Vikings taking Quan Martin, cornerback safety from Illinois. Another one of these kind of hybrid defensive backs I think would be a good fit there in Minnesota. You can play him at either position, and I think we've seen this past season he was just phenomenal for Illinois. A lot of splash plays, really tough football player. I think he'd be a good fit for the Vikings. 30th overall, I have the Chiefs taking Jared Verse, defensive end from Florida State. They were kicking the tires, trying to look at getting Brian Burns from Carolina before the trade deadline. I think Kansas City would like to add more young edge rush talent to go with George Karlaftis. Obviously, their actions say that. I think Verse would be a nice fit there for Kansas City. 31st overall, I have the Eagles taking Brian Branch, cornerback safety from Alabama. Give them a versatile defensive back. They could play him outside corner, play him at safety, play him in the slot. Just give the Eagles another weapon there to help improve that pass coverage and their defensive back talent. All right, let's get into teams that don't have first-round picks. 35th overall, I have the Rams taking Zach Charbonnet, running back from UCLA. Obviously, the running game has been a massive problem for Los Angeles this season. They got to get more backfield talent. Who knows if Cam Akers will be back next year, but Charbonnet would give them a big physical back who runs hard, could really help take advantage of teams playing their safeties back because of Cooper Kupp, and I think Charbonnet would be a plug-and-play improvement for the Rams offense next season. 36th overall, I have the Saints taking KJ Jefferson, quarterback from Arkansas. I could see him going on day 2. Maybe he'll slide and end up being a mid-rounder. We're still super early in the draft process, but obviously the Saints need a long-term starter. Andy Dalton isn't it. Jameis Winston doesn't look like he's it. Ian Book was a wasted draft pick. The Saints need a future quarterback. So Jefferson, I think, would help them in terms of giving them a dual threat quarterback, help them with running the ball, and also being a guy that can work the sidelines, getting the ball downfield to Chris Olave, and really that's what Jefferson's best at, is going downfield along the sidelines, and I think that'd be something that the Saints could work with. 40th overall, I have the Browns taking Trey Dean, safety from Florida. I think they could use an upgrade over Grant Delpit. Trey Dean just had a really nice season for the Gators. Like that fit there for the Browns in round 2. 60th overall, I have Miami taking DeMarvion Overshown, linebacker from Texas. Miami could use more talent in the middle of that defense. I think Overshown give them an upgrade there in terms of speed and athleticism. Lastly, we have the 49ers, who will be picking on day 3. I have them taking Brenton Cox, edge rusher from Florida, before he got kicked off the team during the season, but he's a day 2 talent, so I think that would be a nice value for the 49ers on day 3. They could use more edge rush depth and rotational purposes, have a guy that can help spell Nick Bosa, keep him fresh, keep him healthy, and Cox is physical and tough. Think he's a good fit there for the 49ers defense and that mentality. Just have to be okay with the character, but on day 3, think that's a worthy gamble, boom or bust pick for the 49ers when they don't have early round picks. That's a pick that could end up providing some fruit from this draft class, even though they're shorthanded there. So that's this week's mock. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Definitely check out Walt's picks. He had an awesome week last week, winning over $2,000. So you got to check out who he's picking this week. Of course, we got our updated mocks and position rankings all in the links below here. Hot press and all kinds of the recaps of the conference championship games will be going up on Saturday right away after the games end. I'll be taking notes and putting those together. So just draft focus breakdown of what happened in those games. And of course, we got other things, stock report, big board, quarterback rankings getting updated every week. So check all that out on walterfootball.com. I really appreciate all you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. But I'll be back with you soon. You guys are awesome. Take care. Love to all of you. Be safe.